Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are back with some more classic adventure game stuff. When we left off, I was furiously working here to try to get these user commands to work. And I got these two that trigger and inspect, which I can't quite get to work because, and some other issues that I noticed. When we try to print out the world, we're printing a static copy of when the world started. Which means you can't notice any changes. The user can't ever see changes in the room. I think we have that still up. Yeah, right here. So you see we can... I don't think I showed it here, but we can pick up the stapler and it still says, hey, there's a stapler here. Yeah, you take the stapler and then you still see the stapler in the room. And it's not because the stapler's still there necessarily, although it could be a bug of that kind, but we're printing a static copy of the world that hasn't changed yet. So that's one of the things we need to work on. In fact, that's the thing we need to work on today. Because we can't get these triggers or inspect to work at all with the world. It's having trouble to even get anything to happen because we get down to here and we can't figure out how to work with it. So I've got to get some way to modify the world. Now, one thing I might do, one thing I might try is to take this world and then get rid of the player and the loc refs and see if it'll still work. Let's see. Do you know infinite loops with loop? Oh, the loop keyword. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, let's do that. And honestly, I think at this point we probably should commit this so we can see our changes. I didn't really want to commit this when we have some issues here still going on with trigger and inspect, but I think this is a good time to commit just so that we have our changes forever stored. Now let's see what changes we made. Of course, this file is completely new, basically. And then we have changes here to support it. We have the spawn new player, get next ID. Maybe the solution then is to have some methods on the world to modify it and help us out. Mostly working REPL loop for the game. Bugs. Trigger, inspect are incomplete. We print a static copy of the world to the user so they can never see updates. World. Now, what we're doing here is we're running afoul of Rust mutation. Like, basically, we're running afoul of its rules on mutating. So I got to figure out what we're doing here that's wrong. Now, here we get away with it. Here we get away with cloning, making a copy of the world. And I think it's because we haven't really used the world yet. We could easily have cloned it and made this the mutable copy, most likely. But I think that's why we get away with it. Here we're sort of borrowing it as immutable, but we're not using it as mutable yet. We're just using it in that one way. Here, of course, we're mutating the world. Okay. And here, we're getting a mutable reference. Okay. Yeah. And then if we look in our loop, now see, from this point forward, right, this player and LOC, those both represent a mutable reference to the world. So these are both tied to the world at this point. So, and they're going to stay tied throughout. Maybe the secret is just to move this code inside of the switch statements. I kind of would hate that, but maybe that's the only solution. All right, so the problem we have, now here, this succeeds. I don't know why, though. Why does this succeed and other things don't? Now, if I remember correctly, yeah, let's do some comparisons here. We added this to do because this stuff wasn't working. This doesn't work because we can't borrow world as immutable. Okay, but it seems like we're borrowing it as immutable here, let's try this. Let's try to copy this up here and see if it works. Okay, so this is good information. You can see here we're grabbing something from the world. And here, presumably this is some sort of is it a room ID? I think it is. It's a room ID. Man, I really wish Rust Analyzer were working at the moment, but it's not. Excuse me. Just a sec. Anyway, we need to get that working. So I think what I maybe need to do here is just back out a second and see what do I have to modify to get this to be okay. Immutable borrow occurs here, 1526, and then, okay, full compiler diagnostic. Well, this is nice. Okay, we have immutable borrow here. Okay. And the immutable borrow is used later here. Okay, and then here the immutable borrow is occurring. Interesting. So 88. If we look at 88, this is a completely different case, by the way. So we're using the player here. Now, I think the reason that this case comes into effect is because we're in a loop. And so it's entirely possible for this to happen after. It's logically possible for that to happen after this clone. I think that's the key, right? Okay, huh. But I'm kind of curious, though. I wonder if I took everything inside the loop, or everything inside the match statement, actually, and if I split this up into its own function, would that solve the issue? It may not solve the issue, but it probably would help me understand it better. Let me comment this out. Comment this out. That's probably not going to work either. Okay. Let's see if I automate this, what happens. Oh, unfortunately it doesn't work. Okay. I don't know what it's trying to fix there, but it's not going to do what I want. Okay, so let's make a function. Mutate apply command. We need a mutable reference to the world. We should probably name it something like world. And we need a command. And we'll just take a reference to the command. User command. Okay. Now the result is going to be this. We might actually want to wrap the return type in result. I don't know. But I'm thinking that this works. Okay. Now you're starting to see why I wanted to commit. Now, okay, we need to return, okay. Return here. Okay. Now I notice that loc and exit disappear. Now I remember before I was saying maybe it would make sense if we took this player and loc and we moved them closer to the, if we moved them inside here, maybe that would fix things. So now we're about to do that. And so that might actually fix it coincidentally by moving this inside the loop. I don't remember where exit comes from. I don't see where it comes from. Oh, it's okay. It's right there, but what's the issue? The trait-bound string borrow is not satisfied. Wow. I'm not really understanding this error very much. Can I clone it? Perfect. I can move on now. Alright, now in this case, okay, we can't continue. Everywhere we have continue, we need to replace it with return. Okay. Now, so far, this is looking pretty good. Oh, yeah, we commented those areas out. Now, before doing anything else, though, let's just actually call this apply command to our world. Now, let's see, does this give us an error? It does. We just need a reference to that command. That might be why I'm getting the error, is because this is now a reference. That might be why I got an error on the exit. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so what I'm going to do then is remove that. And then we'll change this back, because I don't want to get a bunch of superfluous errors here. We'll just allow this to consume the command, and that's fine with me. Now the problem here is, can't borrow world is mutable more than once at a time. Second mutable borrow occurs here. So the first mutable borrow occurs at 1526, the second one at, let's look at the full diagnostic. First mutable borrow is here, and then it's used, and then second one occurs. Now interesting, oh, LOC is a mutable borrow, right, okay. So, apparently these two count as the same borrow. I think all I need to do then is just get rid of this. And again, we have a loop here, so we have to be careful. What if I did it like this? Oh, that fixes the issue, great. Because we're borrowing the player, we're borrowing the location, and then let's just insert this. Oh, whoops. Get rid of that. So the idea here, oh wait, that doesn't work now. Oh. Great. We're borrowing the player, we're using it, and then on the next loop through, we borrow it again. So at this point, the player variable doesn't need to exist anymore. So now this works. So I think this probably would have worked even without apply command. Like if I just pulled that stuff inside here, it would have been fine. But because I was borrowing it before the loop, it caused issues. If we borrow it each time through the loop, it doesn't matter. So, and that's really what I want to convey, is just, you know, borrow it each time through the loop. So that fixes that. And I have some confidence, because we got that error here, the same kind of error, I kind of have the confidence we're not going to have an issue inside of here. Because there's no loop in here, right? And so anytime I borrow twice, it's going to be very obvious because we're not looping inside here. And we just fixed the loop. So separating those out really did help identify why that error was happening. And I think that's a good thing. I need to find out where the commented code is, though. I want to repeat the same whatchamacallit, see if it works. Was it here? It wasn't in Go. Oh, man. I forgot what I was doing. Let's go back. Okay. Oopsie daisy. Okay. I think one of the next projects we need to do is a stream interface for YouTube so that I don't have to, like, fight with it so much. Okay, so this is all garbage. Honestly, we don't need that, but we're going to rewrite it later. That was our AI code to get us started. Okay, well, here it was. Here's the code we had. Okay, great. Great, this is all good. This all works. Okay, we got rid of our errors by doing that, but I don't want to comment this out yet. I'm going to get rid of this. Now, I just want to go ahead and commit this. To be quite honest with you, I almost want to commit just part of it. let's try this. Split. Yes, we want to move this inside. Now then, I want to stash save, keep what we have, and see if this works now. Let's see. We're wanting to put it here. No, was it there? Maybe. Can't find loc in the scope. So that's going to be a problem. Oh, because I got rid of loc. Okay. Got it, but I do think we fixed the original issue. We just still need loc. Okay. I'm gonna undo that change. Let's get rid of the new stuff, right? And then put everything back together as one thing. Okay. I don't really need to change that part. DW, nothing important. I got to be honest, I expected to spend the whole stream figuring this out, which we nearly have. We don't have much time left, but I'm excited that we got this done. Simplify the loop to sort out the bug. Want to let's see, how do I say this? I'm trying to prevent a compile error. Okay, let's talk about what we did. Move player reference inside the loop to make it a short-lived mutable reference to the world instead of a long-lived one. Here we go. Move the loop into a separate function. Move the match, the big ol' match expression into a separate function. This made debugging easier, type error easier, more specifically borrow checking, and we'll continue to simplify our understanding of type issues. There we go. Basically what I want to do is separate the bulk of my code from the loop. Get rid of that nonsense, which we're going to get ready. Okay, so now we're good to go. Let's build it. Okay, so we did make a mistake. Unexpected closing delimiter. Okay. Oh, you know, all of this needs to move a little bit. Okay. Yeah. L1P. Word wrap equals. No, wait. Word diff equals collar, I think. Sure. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to overthink it. All right, now what I would like to do is go ahead and try to get those new commands working. There's really not enough time to do both of them, though, so I think I'll continue with the inspect command that I was working on before and try to remember what I was doing. All right, so we have our interaction. Okay. Okay, we may not know how to interact with this thing. Okay, so we're going to do this. We don't need to do that. World. Actually, this might be all we need to do here. Apparently, we're not using this interaction ref. Why not? Oh, this is the wrong... Yeah, it's not the right spot. Okay, great, we're done. Wow, that was easy. Okay. Let's add a new one. Let room equal world.rooms.get location.unwrap. We're really moving quickly here. Let interact equal room.interactions.iter.find. Find the right interaction where enter.overview. Oh wow. Label equals. Oh, that's right. This was AI code. That's why it doesn't feel familiar. Okay. Where it equals the interaction. Boom. These variable names don't flow. Else, we're going to say, I don't know how to trigger. Let's change this from interact to inspect. I don't know how to inspect this. I don't know how to trigger that. Let's be more specific. Semicolon. And then we have our interaction dot trigger. Okay, this is going to give me an error. I know it will. A field with a similar name exists. Did I misspell it? Yes, I did. Okay, and the problem here is we need a mutable reference. That may give a borrow checking error. It didn't so far. Room needs to be mute, actually. So we need to get mute. And we need a reference to it. Okay, yeah, we're getting the same problem. Cannot borrow room as mutable because it is also borrowed as immutable. Now, one thing I could do is make an immutable copy of. Okay, where is it borrowed as immutable, first of all? Let's look at the full compiler diagnostic. Immutable borrow occurs here. Mutable borrow occurs here. Now, as I recall, these interactions, they don't modify themselves, do they? Let's see. Yeah, when I do trigger, it doesn't modify itself. That saves me some. Because what I can do is say, right here, I can clone it. And that should close up the immutable borrow right there. It didn't. Cannot borrow room is mutable. Okay, cannot borrow world is mutable more than once. Well, that's unfortunate. Another option would be to create a copy of the world and then to... Another option would be create a copy of the world, or sorry, create a copy of the room, mutate the copy of the room, and then put it back in. Like right here between these two lets, right here we could do .clone, right? And don't bother borrowing mute, just do get. Maybe this is what we'll do. Okay, that gets rid of this problem. And then, what's our problem here? Oh, mutably borrow, great. Okay, and the issue now is what? Cannot borrow room is mutable? Cannot borrow world is mutable. Is not declared as mutable. World is not declared as mutable. What? I mean, this is mutable. Oh! I think I get it. There. Okay, so here's what we'll do. Instead of cloning here, let's clone here. Why doesn't that work? I don't care. I don't need to live longer. Oh, I get it. The room disappears at the end of the statement, and then the interaction can't live longer than that. Okay. Let room immute equals room.clone. Room immute. This is not the right way to do things, but this is the way to do it in 10 minutes. I know I need to make things better, but what this is showing me is I don't quite have the right memory model. I don't really quite have the right model of how things should be working. Okay, so now we got to type check, but there's one more problem, and that is we need to update the actual world at the end of this. So world.rooms.insert at location, we want to insert this new mutable room. What's the problem? We need there. Is that it? No. The problem is consider dereferencing the borrow. Okay. I'm fine with that. Why doesn't it work? Okay, world can't be borrowed as mutable more than once. First borrow happens here. Second borrow occurs here, and first borrow is later used here. I don't quite get that. First borrow comes from here. Well, I mean, I guess you can say it's not a borrow yet until we actually make use of it. I don't know why we can't just borrow it mutably here and then afterward make a change to it. It's confusing to me. Trigger definitely happens on a reference. It's not consuming the world. I don't understand why this prevents us from doing something later. Man, this is tricky. Okay, this doesn't fix the problem either, though, is what I'm gathering. Now, we didn't have this problem here because there was no mutation, right? You can borrow the world immutably many times, but you can only borrow it once mutably. So trigger really is the one that's tricky to do correctly. Now, one thing that's a little bit suspicious about this whole interaction implementation is the fact that self is never modified, but we're modifying the world or the room. We don't know which one. You know, we're looking at the world or the room here. It's a little bit suspicious that... Oh, okay, well, time's about up. A little bit suspicious here, and I can't think of a better API unless we were literally just to move these implementations into the world, like where you pass into the world, you say, hey, here's my location, and here's the name of the interaction. Now you go do these things to yourself. You go do these things yourself. Now I don't know if that would change anything. It might actually, because we wouldn't be calling a function to trigger this. We'd be, yeah. I don't know why this doesn't work. I don't know. Well, the problem is I don't know why it didn't work before we even made the room copy. Right? Let's say we don't clone it here. Right? Why does that not work? Okay. Well, we don't need to do that now. But this one fails because... Oh, really? Okay, so cannot borrow world as it's borrowed immutably here. Oh, right. We need to change that to mutable, first of all. Okay, anyway, we have to pack it up here in a second. Okay, now this is just the puzzle we're going to end on today. Tracking lifetimes. Now, for those of you who don't know, in Rust, you do have to track how a variable is used over time. You know, the purpose of these rules is to prevent you from making a mistake and using things incorrectly. It's very possible I'm thinking about this wrong and I'm actually making some kind of bug. However, it's also possible, you know, there are programs which are valid, which fail the borrow checker. So there are programs which are valid, which Rust won't allow. In this case, there's got to be another way to do it that works. I think what we're going to end up having to do is move this interact thing onto the world, or this trigger thing onto the world. And if we do it and it works for trigger, then we're going to also do it for, we'll do it for inspect just for consistency. So I think that's going to be our task for next stream. But, you know, we've gotten so close. We've gotten everything to work here except the trigger command. Before we get out of here, let's at least test it out, right? Let's see how we do. We fixed 2 issues. First of all, we have, oh my notes went away. That's okay. The first issue we fixed was we got this inspect command done. The other issue we fixed is the print room. Oh, hey, here we go. We're going to fix this. Actually, will this break things? Yeah, that does break things still. Okay. So I know something I can do that might fix that. Let's try this. That works. Okay, I think that fixes it. We'll make the commit later, honestly. That might fix both issues. We have some issues here still going on, but let's try cargo run. Let's run the program. Okay, we're in a square room with a large A printed on its concrete floor. There's an exit to the south. What do you want to do? Take stapler. Now look at this. You take the stapler, and the room no longer has a stapler. Perfect. Let's go south. Oh, we're going to type go south. Okay, and now in this place you can see we're in a square room with large B. Now we're in room B. There's one exit, and there are 2 interactions. Now let's say drop stapler. And now there's a stapler in this room. Perfect! So we've made progress. Now we could do something like, what is it? Inspect. Inspect light. Forgot what to call it. I don't know how to inspect light. Now, what was it called in the 3-room circus? Incandescent light bulb. It was light B? Is that what it's called? No, surely not. I don't think we have a label. Actually, I think the label is blank. Oh. Yeah, we haven't tested this before, so yeah, that's probably a bug that we need to fix. All right, well, that's where we're at, folks. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to see if I can get these notes in here first. Oh, I do have my notes up somewhere. Okay, there we go. Adventure game. Let's bring it up. Uh-huh. It was just in the wrong spot. Okay, so we did get this fixed. Inventory command to show player inventory. We still need to do that. Cohesive use of summarize. Yeah, that's one still to do. But near the top of our list is correctly get the trigger user command to pass the borrow checker. You know, being able to trigger stuff is a crucial bit. Inventory command seems a lot easier, so I'm glad we have that left to do. What else? Right. In the sample game, add labels for the interactions so we can target them. There we go. Now, if you'll remember, we used AI to write the parser, And then we also used AI to write the unit test, which is for the parser. Now that's the reason we didn't discover this bug sooner. If we had gone through and written the parser ourselves and tested it ourselves, we would have figured this out. But because I didn't look at this in much detail, just that yeah, it looks generally correct. I didn't fail it. Now what I want to do is add a validate function that will validate stuff from the input data, right? And then if it's missing something, I want it to actually fail. I want it to actually give a failure message. So that's something that's yet to come. So, and make sure it works. Add a validate. Oh wait, this is parser. Add a validation function and test it to make sure it fails invalid story files. Alright, so that's something we have left to do. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this short segment. We have made honestly, we've made a lot of progress. I had no right to make this much progress. I really hope you guys have had fun, and I hope you'll stop by next time. This is Creative Craving.